Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive, and I'm Meghna Deka. Well, viewers, next time your doctor asks you to take calcium or even perhaps vitamin D supplements, be careful. Even if it is an anti-diabetic pill or a pill for high blood pressure. The medicines that you think may be saving your lives could actually be harming you. This is a possibility that may make you sick instead of curing your illness. We don't want to scare you. We don't want to alarm you. But viewers, you need to swallow this bitter pill. The Central Drug Regulator, the CDSCO, has declared over 53 drugs of not being of standard quality in its latest monthly report. What does it really mean that it's not of standard quality? Does it mean it will harm you? Or does it mean that it's spurious? Or does it mean that it may have limited impact? Well, for all those questions, we are going to be going across to a doctor who's going to explain to us the implications of this report, and you, the viewers, can connect with us directly here on the numbers there flashing at the bottom of your screens. If you have any questions for the doctor, do give us a call at those numbers. But till then, let me tell you what the story is all about. Well, batches of 4 dozen high-selling drugs have failed to meet the quality standards of the drug regulator. Some manufacturers are now claiming that the impugned batch of product had not been manufactured by them. From that, it was a spurious drug and not manufactured by them. Essentially, the official sources now are also suggesting that such a list is released every month, and this shows that the Drug Controller General of India is constantly monitoring the quality of medicines and taking action against the manufacturing companies who are selling these drugs which are of NSQ or not of the standard quality. They have also suggested that the NSQ, or something which is substandard, this alert is mostly minor in nature, which is not life-threatening. Opposition, of course, has launched a blistering attack on the BJP, saying that Modi hai to mumkin hai, Modi hai to bhrashtachar hai. Listen in to some of these voices.
भारत सरकार क्या कर दे, कब कर दे, कैसे कर दे, किसी को अंदाजा नहीं। पहले वैक्सीन को लेके कई वार्निंग देने के बावजूद जी वैक्सीन लगवा दिए, चलते फिरते लोग मर रहे हैं, जवान मर रहे हैं, कम उम्र के बच्चे मर रहे हैं, और अब पेनजी और पैरासिटामॉल पे रोक आई है। ये सबसे ज्यादा घरों में इस्तेमाल की जाने वाली दवा है और डॉक्टर्स लिखते हैं। तो मैं तो इसे मानता हूं कि ये मोदी सरकार की असफलता।
रिपोर्ट है मीडिया के जरिए हमने जो देखा है 50 या 54 मेडिसिन के बारे में बोला है कि इसका मतलब वो नहीं किया गया है, जो क्वालिटी मेंटेन करना चाहिए तो वो नहीं है बिल्कुल क्वालिटी, या कोई इनके जो रिकॉग्नाइज फैक्ट्री है उसमें बना ही नहीं, 2 नंबरी सप्लाई मार्केट में है। मैं समझता हूँ इस केस को सीबीआई को दे देना चाहिए।
Well, officially, so far there has been no response coming in from the government. But this news has led to panic, and we are here to ensure that your concerns are answers. We'll try and find any way to allay them. And is there any reason to hit the panic button? Or perhaps we just need to be cautious. What really does this list mean? And what do we do to protect ourselves? Should we stop taking these medicines? Or should we just approach it in a cautious manner? I'm going to be putting across some of these questions to Dr. N.N. Khanna, who's joining us, the advisor of Apollo Group of Hospitals. He's also a senior consultant cardiologist and a vascular interventionalist at the Indraprastha Apollo Hospital. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Khanna, here on the show. We have several viewers who are calling in. We are going to be going across to them. But before that, I have a question for you. As per the drug controller, it says that over 50 drugs are not of standard quality or they are spurious. What does it imply? Is it going to hurt us, or is it going to cure us, or does it mean that it may harm us to a limited extent? What do we understand of this?
Okay, so this is a very pertinent question. Nowadays what is happening is there are so many manufacturers, and maybe the standards of quality are not uniform for all these manufacturing units, And we often see what happens is, that drugs, when you say spurious, I won't say like they could be less effective. So, they don't have the necessary concentration of the drug or the dose of the drug. So they may be less effective. And at the same time, if the drugs are not up to a particular quality, they may even be dangerous and they produce serious side effects. So the range ranges from being ineffective to be less effective and to be very dangerous for the patient who is taking.
And
So
this
that
is
a
interesting
very,
because some of them are
that is a
very
thing of concern.
regularly used
And I
drugs. Some
believe-
of them that people like you and me, all of us would have used. Paracetamol, antacid pan D, vitamin D3 supplements, which everyone is prescribed by the doctors, vitamin B complex, vitamin C tablets, anti-diabetic pills, as well as high blood pressure medicines. Some of them also for children. Children's medications also, remember, have been found spurious or not meeting up to the standards. Do stay on with us, Dr. Khanna. Let me bring in some of our viewers. They want to ask you certain questions. We have Brigadier Sanjay Khanna. After that, I'll go across to Ravi calling us from Bengaluru. But Brigadier Khanna, you're calling us from Greater Noida. What's your question? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'd say that this is very, very disgraceful that we are into such quality of drugs. Each one of us who takes a pill or injection feels that after taking it you feel better. But in case they are spurious, obviously they could do a lot of damage to you, especially for people who are taking drugs for a very long time. And unfortunately, it would damage their organs and it could cause them bodily harm.
Absolutely.
So it's very, very, very important that the drug regulators have to ensure the quality control. Now, I don't know, Dr. Khanna would be able to actually state as to how that can be ensured.
Dr. Khanna, how do these quality checks happen? It's a monthly report, if I'm not mistaken. But how long is it possible that such substandard drugs would be distributed and consumed by people across India?
Okay, so, when the drug actually comes for manufacturing to different manufacturers, they have to at least, first inspection is about their quality and also the process and the way they are manufactured and the facilities there. But, it's not very standardized. You may have the best of the qualities, which means the FDA standard or international standards. You also have drugs which are manufactured in very small units and they do pass some tests. Not in large numbers, but then after that, the regular testing is on the batches. So random batches are checked and regularly these batches are checked. But sometimes, the rules are there, but what we see is many a times the standards are not met in different batches. And ideally, once you find such an incident, the entire batch is removed from the market. And the patients should be informed that if they have taken drugs from this batch, they should actually, if they report any side effects, they should report to the doctors or to the nodal agency.
So
but,
it's important that we are also careful.
Life, what we see, there are lapses in this.
So we also, as patients, need to be careful. As consumers, we need to be careful and aware of what's happening. In fact, let me go across to our viewer. Ravi is calling us from Bengaluru. Go ahead, Ravi. What would you like to say?
Yeah, hi, Meghna. Good evening. This is Ravi from Bangalore, and hello, doctor. Good evening to you as well. I am a pharmaceutical marketing guy. I used to work as a pharmaceutical marketing guy once upon a time, but not now. About 15 years back, I worked for about 10, 12 years in that industry. And I know the nitty-gritties of how the medicines are manufactured and how it is sold and how it is marketed. Right, in depth. So while I understand that there are regular quality checks in the pharmaceutical industry, by the manufacturer itself, and there are FDAs, Food and Drug Administrations, and there are over and above that, once when it reaches the market, there are these agencies which come and check about the quality of the medicines. All these checks are there, but still, I would like to believe that. The drugs which are manufactured over a period of time, say, for example, very common drugs like pharmaceutical, like paracetamol or some anti-allergic drugs or something, the people should not go wrong in manufacturing those because they have been manufacturing for these for about 10, 12, 15 years now. And if there is any discrepancies there, that I I would give the benefit of doubt, but still I tend to feel that that it is purposefully done in order to get some more profits or to address some more demand, like the Paracetamol COVID case where it's happened, where all of a sudden it spiked up and people want to make a quick buck there. But I feel that if the drug is manufactured for 10, 15, 20, or 30, 40 years now,
right,
in the same premises with the same thing, I don't know why the quality should reduce.
Why would the quality change? So he's essentially saying, Dr. Khanna, that it's possible that this is intentionally done, that there is corruption. After all, when these drug regulators had asked these questions, most of the manufacturers now have been saying that all of this was actually not done by them, saying that it is not from our batch, perhaps it's spurious in nature. Companies like Sun Pharma, Glenmark, they've said that we have not manufactured any of these these batches of medicines that are now being called spurious or perhaps substandard.
Absolutely. I mean, corruption is at the root of the whole problem, and that is corruption and greed, and that is what it is. You know, the big companies and the standard companies are pretty ethical in terms of their manufacturing unit and marketing, but somehow in the chain from manufacturing and down to what the patient gets, there is a lot of, scope for corruption. And many a times it happens when the demand, increases, or if there is a lot of profiteering in between.
We'll have to wait and see if they get away with it by saying that we didn't manufacture it, it was done by someone else. I'll quickly go across to, well, 4 or 5 of our viewers are waiting for us. Subhash is joining us from Bengaluru, Usha, Ramalingam, as well as Makran. Subhash joining us from Bengaluru. Go ahead first. What would you like to say?
Yeah. I would like to say a few things. Number one, if the medicine is spurious, especially like paracetamol,
right,
what happens is that we take the medicine and fever does not go down. And then doctor will ask increase the dose. Whereas we are taking spurious medicine, it will not affect. So my question is, what the regulating authorities and inspectors are doing? Is there a capital punishment for these guys who are allowing to sell?
Very important point. What is the punishment that these manufacturers will face? I'll just come to you, Dr. Khanna. Till then, Usha, our viewer calling us from Chennai. Go ahead, Usha. What would you like to ask?
Yes, madam, what I would like, most alarming, in spite of the various checks you have at different stages, but still these spurious medicines enter the market. So what is most worrying is we as consumers, how do we know, how do we recognize or differentiate between spurious medicines or otherwise? Ultimately, we are the ones who are affected by it. I think the law should be more stringent, or probably Dr. Khanna should come out with some idea how we as consumers can distinguish between spurious and genuine tablets.
That's an important question. I'll put that question across to Dr. Khanna as well. Ramalingam, our viewer is calling us from Chennai. Go ahead, Ramalingam. I'd request all our viewers, if you're giving us a call, please do put your television sets on mute. We'll be able to hear you clearly. Ramalingam, if you're there with us.
Good evening, doctor.
Well, let me go across till then to Subhash, who's our viewer calling us from Rajasthan. Subhash, go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Basically, my query is the issue in particular batch, or it is a whole lot, or basically.
Yes, go ahead.
Basically, my query is regarding it is a issue in particular lot, or whole medicine of Shelcal D3 is not okay.
Okay, so I think I got your question, whether it's about the lot or the entire batch or that entire brand. So let me go across to Dr. Khanna. 3 quick questions, Dr. Khanna. What if the medicines don't work? What do we do then? Second, how do we recognize if a medicine is not working or if it's fake? What next after that? And is it only about this one batch, or is it the entire medicine which should be avoided now? What do people do?
Okay, so the first thing, how does a consumer or a patient know whether the drug is spurious or genuine? One, that if the drug is not acting, then start thinking that the drug could be spurious or it could not be meeting the regular standards.
Right.
And then the best thing is to make sure that you talk to your doctor and show him the brand and where you bought it from, and then he can understand. The other thing is one should also make sure that he's not experiencing any side effects which are unusual and which the prescribing doctor has not told the patient.
Right.
And if something else is he's experiencing some side effects, some unusual effects, again it should actually raise the eyebrows, and he should actually get in touch with his physician and report this. Now, I would also want the patient should be very cautious when they buy medicine. They should not buy medicines from any local shops which are not certified. They have to buy it from standard certified shops, pharmaceutical shops. And they should take proper brands which the doctors have written rather than just a substitute. Many a times what happens is the physicians would write the right brands, and these things happen at the level of the pharmaceutical shop where they substitute it, as the chemist, they would substitute it with a very cheap brand or maybe the brand which costs the patient the same amount but the margin is higher. So that is where the corruption many times gets in, and one has to be careful about it.
So those are very important points that you've shared with us. Unfortunately, Dr. Khanna, we are running out of time. Several of our other viewers have also called in. Krishna, Dr. Kohli, Manish, Manjunath. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so we wouldn't be able to take in your calls. But this is going to be one of the top focus stories here on Times Now. We want you, the viewers, the consumers, as well as the patients to understand it's important for us to take steps to ensure that we are careful instead of hitting the panic button. Thank you so much, Dr. Khanna, for joining us here on the show. This is going to be one of our top stories, and we'll continue to connect with experts to answer all your questions. With that, a short break.